After escaping the training ground and seeing the wonders of Hong Kong, we ultimately assassinated Li Hong. This time, we'll be going to the infamous Colombian jungle and visit a hotel in Budapest to see if Hitman Codename 47, a game notoriously clunky and considered buggy, could in fact be the best game ever made.
Colombia. From what I've heard, even the butterflies are corrupt and smuggling drugs. Now, let's get this show running. Which way is south?
We are now going to go through the infamous Colombian missions. Aside from that awesome introduction, these levels are actually widely disliked. I mentioned them at the start of the video, and while there is only truly one mission that I hate to play through, which isn't one of these, I believe it will be relatively easy for you to see how flawed this part of the game is. Navigating through the jungle will require a compass. It is really the only time in the entire game where we'll need it. But I cannot stress this enough. This area all looks the same, and reaching the crash site before Pablo's men is gonna make things easier for us. Otherwise, we'd possibly have to kill a few guards. Once we get the sacred golden idol, we better hide it, because anybody seeing us carry that thing will start World War III to obtain it. We've got to find the village, and believe it or not, I know where it is. Upon entering, we'll be asked multiple times to show them the idol, but unless we attack them, the Yuwa tribe is never really aggressive. Next, we'll meet with the chieftain, who offers us a deal. He'll show us a secret passage leading to the hidden camp in exchange for his brother, captured by Pablo's men. We are now set on a rescue mission, and there will be blood. Outside the fact that the brother of the chieftain is held approximately 45 km away from our current position, he's also guarded by around 5 to 6 men. One of them, a proud owner of a M60, particularly scares the fuck out of me. Luckily for us, these chaps aren't exactly trigger happy, and don't mind us getting closer, as long as we do not mess with them. So, our plan will be to climb that ladder, slit the throat of that M60 guy, and then gun down his other friends. It is possible to slice his throat without being seen, but that requires a sense of delicacy unknown to me. Sorry. Weirdly enough, I feel like shooting enemies from high ground does more damage to them and that they do less damage to us, because in this case I really screwed up, and I still was able to escape with little to no health points. As for the chief's brother, as soon as we shoot the guards holding him, he'll be heading back to the village, although not by the quickest path. The only thing left for us to do is to run back to the chief for a solid 2 minutes, wait for his brother to arrive, and once he finishes his speech, the mission is over. The next mission is the quickest in the entire game, and also a pretty boring one. We see a gimmick unique to the Colombian missions. We cannot choose our starting equipment for the second and third maps. Instead, we are left with what we had in the previous mission. Hence, I took the sniper rifle. It's a cheese tactic for later on. Although, luckily, our health is back to full. Our objective here is to cross a passage kept by a jaguar that the Yuwa tribe believe to be a god. Whatever floats their boat, you know. We have several choices here. Either we ignore him and go for the passage, as he bites our ass, that's the least practical choice. We can also sacrifice a pig, or even a soldier to keep him busy and docile. Obviously a pig is easier, as dragging the body of a random dude will alert a few guards around this area. And finally, we can also kill him, but that will anger everyone. And I'm a people pleaser, so I won't do that. My only regret is not taking a Beretta at the start of the previous mission to kill these pigs, because they cannot be harmed by a knife, and that forced me to use a sniper on them. They also are crazily tanky. Maybe we should do body armor with the skins of these animals, instead of whatever it is made of. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, it only took 2 bullets, but the sniper ain't exactly a paint gun either. We'll grab Piggy, bring him to Tezcatlipoca, yes, that's the name of the kitty, and let him feast while we retrieve our sniper and reach the 3rd level. We've now reached one of the missions people fear the most, and supposedly one of the hardest, but it really isn't the case. That mission is just very confusing, as there are a few things to know to succeed. First, I'll show you why I dragged that sniper through 2 missions. If we're quick enough, and nobody sees us, because oddly enough, guards did not mind us carrying a sniper in the first 2 Colombian missions, But by the third one, it will be a critical offense leading us to be sentenced to death. So if we're quick, we have the opportunity to kill Pablo through that window here. And you'll see soon that the other method, while equally easy, requires us to get into the thick of it. I personally never use a sniper because I'd rather get close and personal with Pablo, but I wanted to show you that it is possible. Anyway, let's drop that gun before anybody sees us. We'll follow the fencing to reach an outpost that won't pose any problem. Now we have to enter and head for the biggest building in the center of the map. That's where we'll find Pablo, or at least his body, if we sniped him. On the way there, we can find a silenced Beretta on the ground. Otherwise, there is another one inside Pablo's place. His very specific building has a few special properties. We'll discuss them all. Weirdly enough, the guards won't allow us to pass by the front door, but nobody will budge if we use one of the secondary doors, even though most have a soldier standing right behind them. We'll directly run upstairs. In the bathroom is a lonely soldier. We'll slice his throat and hide his body as well as we can, so nobody sees him when the door is opened. Even though you probably can't tell by looking, this soldier is of higher ranking than the others. We'll take his uniform later for our second objective. Pablo is hiding behind his door. Whether we already killed him or not, that guard won't budge, and we won't be allowed to go inside. Upstairs on the left are two other soldiers. We'll slice both their throats as well. One of them, standing by a silenced Beretta on a couch, also has the same outfit I mentioned a few seconds ago. Now, the reason why I decided to execute these chaps is simple. That guard in front of Pablo's door never turned his back, and I will need to use the silenced Beretta to get him out of the way. The silenced pistols in Codename 47 are slightly louder than the knife, making it easier to be spotted. Yes, they are silenced and usually do the job, but they aren't 100% reliable, and if an impact hits the wall, we might be in trouble. There are also no in-game saves, and if a guy with an AK-47 opens the door and turns the game into a John Woo movie, I'd be in a horrible position. In this case, I fired 3 bullets. One hit the shoulder, the second hit the head, and the third one hit the wall, which made more noise than I wished for. Not enough to get me into hot water, but enough to attract another guard with his agonizing noises, which I do not like. Overall, it wasn't a horrible kill, since he didn't have the time to fire back. It could have been much worse. Since Pablo is dead, these guards get to keep their lives for today, and will probably end up as hired killers in the streets of Medellin. But if we were to kill Pablo the normal way, then as soon as we enter the mansion, that cockroach will snort an insane dose of cocaine, which will make him overpowered. A reference to Scarface, if you've seen the movie. In that case, we'll be forced to clean the house, as every guard will be alerted by the fight. Luckily for us, this building is soundproof. Aside from the 2 guards at the front door, nobody will hear a thing happening inside. In case we were to not clear the guards and fight Pablo directly, it will be quite hilarious, since Pablo has some mini cutscenes whenever he takes a certain amount of damage, and these cutscenes make the AI bug completely. They all group up on top of the stairs, and are just waiting to be slaughtered. Pablo isn't a difficult fight, as he mostly shoots everywhere like a lunatic, and doesn't really aim at us, even though he possesses the closest thing to Lucifer in his hands, an M60. Now, the reason we have to come into this room regardless of whether we already killed Pablo, and therefore have to deal with the guards, is that there is a bomb required for our next objective on the desk, which makes reaching this room a necessity, and also condemns at least one of these guards to death, as there isn't any way to distract them, unlike in the later entries of the franchise. We'll also find another letter on Pablo's body. It reads, Satumare, 12/10/99. Dear Pablo, things have changed. I hope for your understanding that the project must be kept running financially, even though our great brotherhood is in disagreement. More than ever, we need to accelerate the project. We might have to move the entire lab soon. I feel that some of my staff are getting a bit scared by the project's implications. Remember, friend, 47 belongs to me. But I just might send him to you for a personal demonstration of his talents. Blood and muscle. Professor. There is no doubt that we were sent here to kill Pablo, and that he knew it. That letter was a barely disguised threat, signaling Pablo his end was coming. Apparently an old friend wanted to make sure that he could shop for a coffin before the price increase. We aren't done with this mission just yet. we now have to blow up Pablo's drug laboratory. I simply have one formal request. Please forget all common sense for a few minutes. Finding it can honestly be a pain in the ass, but that's true for almost anything in this game, so let's skip on that part. Once located, both entrances will have a guard refusing us access. Attempting to enter in a standard outfit will lead us to make friends with the vermin underneath the sand, marked by a cross freshly chopped off a tree and a poorly written inscription in Spanish. That's for the good ending. The bad one involves a cleaver and dogs sharing the pieces. Also, I might have forgotten to mention that, but don't even try going loud on this map. There are approximately 10 guards for every centimeter square, most of them ready to inflict on you what 30 years working this job did to them, all while hiding on top of guards towers with assault rifles. We cannot get away with murder here. If we shoot anything, it's hunting season, and the game turns into a deer simulator. As you probably guessed, we are not the ones holding the gun, and the enemies have the rocket launcher cheat codes enabled. Now back to where we were. The trick is using the outfit I mentioned earlier, although even with this disguise, the guard is still going to tell us to
find another place to hang around.
However, we can safely ignore him and pass. You just have to be careful, as the guard will only warn you 3 times. After that, he'll start firing. If you've ever failed that mission by doing it the exact same way as me, it is likely that you've triggered these 3 warnings. Once inside, we'll quickly notice that the lab is pretty packed. Naturally, we'll do exactly what any sane human being would do in the middle of a crowd. Take out a bomb and plant it. As expected, our totally normal behavior is met with complete indifference. You wouldn't guess what working overtime does to poorly paid workers. We leave the same way we came, which triggers another warning from the guard, which we can safely ignore, since we only triggered 2 so far. Now, before detonating the bomb and leaving, there is something you have to know. As soon as the bomb explodes, every guard on the map will be all over us. We have to leave on Tatterplane, but there's a trick. Here's another quirk of Pablo's mansion. Blowing up the bomb while inside of it won't alert anybody, allowing us to escape without any problem. I mean, fewer problems, because going anywhere near that plane is still going to trigger these damn communists. Our next mission takes place in Budapest, Hungary, at a thermal bath hotel where a peace summit is being held. All the leaders of the world's great nations are attending, which means increased security. Our target isn't found among the gratin of the world elite. Instead, we are aiming for an Austrian terrorist called Franz Fuchs. That chap is planning to blow up the Hotel Gallard and change the world forever. Usually, the agency wouldn't meddle in politics, but in this case, they'll make an exception. Our customer also requested the bomb, so we'll have to take it out of the hotel. We'll take only one thing for this mission, the fiber wire. Yeah, this is the only mission where I'll be using this iconic weapon, and the reason for that is the metal detector at the entrance. I simply cannot smuggle a knife inside without ending up like Bonnie and Clyde. The fiber wire is obviously the most silent weapon in the entire game, alongside the knife. But its problem lies in the fact that it takes a while to execute a target, while the knife only takes one sharp cut to the jugular. But for this mission, we are forced to deal with it. Not that it's a big problem, to be honest. The weapon is perfectly fine. If anything, the knife is just overpowered.
Budapest and the Thermal Bath Hotel. What a classy looking place. And well guarded too. It's time to look sharp and concentrate. A good thing I brought my suit.
This time, we even have our own personal driver. This mission is probably the most liked in the entire game, and what people dislike the most about it is having to deal with the Colombian mission before getting access to it. Understandable, but I do not share that sentiment. While I do not hate this mission, I always find it too easy and too short to be one of my favorites, although we probably have this level to thank for the direction the series took with its sequels. Let's pass through the metal detector and head to the desk to obtain the key to our room. That key is mostly useless, If I'm being honest, I'm only taking the time to pick it up so you can hear that wonderful dialogue.
I made a reservation for 2 days.
And what was the name, please?
Mr. Tobias Reaper.
We have a nice room for you, Mr. Ripper. Could you please sign here?
Okay. Looks like Mr. Wolf is in room 202.
If you want me to check your mail, just hand me over your room key, okay?
I'll keep that in mind.
Now we'll head to the thermal bath, the sauna more precisely. Since we're forced to wear a swimsuit, we obviously can't conceal any item. To be perfectly precise, we're here because someone has been waiting his entire life for this moment. The moment when his heart can no longer take the heat of his actions and finally stops.
Gott in Himmel, it is certainly hot in here.
Yes.
Yeah, well, but I must be careful. I have a weak heart, you see.
Don't stay in here too long then.
We have just killed Fritz Fuchs, Franz's brother. It is mandatory to kill him to progress, as he carries the key to the dental office where the bomb is hidden. As for where he hides that key, use your imagination. Whenever we start the mission, Fritz is always in the sauna, and I deeply appreciate that, because once you know how the level works, he's going to be the one you want to visit first. There is also that charming lady at the entrance of the women's dressing room, but she unfortunately serves no purpose other than to threaten us with a quick surgery. She's not lying though. The chef, who also has a unique civilian skin, does in fact possess a meat cleaver, and he's never amused to find us in his kitchen, which is understandable, given how many knives are in there. Our next target is Franz himself, currently hiding on the hotel's second floor. It is pretty easy to see where, given the gorilla stationed in front of his door, refusing us access to the room. It is actually possible to get the bodyguard to let us in for 10 seconds, if we disguise ourselves as the hotel room service and bring him fresh towels. But unfortunately, there is another chap inside blocking the door, thus preventing us from doing anything meaningful. They also were not kidding about that time limit, as we are instantly thrown out when the timer expires. I thought that maybe it was possible to kill Franz this way, if we waited until the guy inside went for a smoke on the balcony. However, after further testing, I do not think so anymore, as he seems to automatically return to the cuck chair the moment we enter the room as room service. It's also worth noting that Hitman Codename 47 doesn't display NPC locations on the map, so I had to enter the nearby room to scout whenever that guard was going out for a smoke, before coming back to talk to the front door bodyguard, wasting a lot of time in the process. 10 seconds is also incredibly short, and with only your fiber wire to go in the shower room and execute Franz, we better be quick. Franz might also not like it to see a random dude crawling behind him with ill intent. So yes, let's use the normal method instead. Instead of garroting the hotel staff to take his outfit, we'll simply steal the master key he carelessly leaves on the door. We'll then head back to the neighboring room, where we spied on the bodyguard. Once the men head back inside, we'll jump from a balcony to the other, sneak up, and kill him. That will teach him to throw us out like that. Now, we have two ways of dealing with friends. There is a silent slugger on the desk, so we could simply open the door and shoot him dead. Or, we could sneak in and hope that he doesn't see us, which is kind of random, I have to admit. And once we're close, garrote him under the shower, with passion, man to man. Whatever's your fantasy. There are a few things on the desk. The dentist card, which hints that he works in tandem with his brother, who's posing as a dentist. There's also the gun, and a do not disturb sign that could be put on the door, but the bodyguard is already doing the job for us. Finally, there's a letter from Pablo Ochoa that reads, The Camp, 2999. Dear Franz, I don't give a shit about splitting the fruit. I want better men who follow orders. Drugs are keeping me fit, and I believe that they can keep me on top. Spare me the babble of this old man. If you have any problems keeping your hand steady, I can always send you a package of my fine white elixir. She keeps me steady as a rock and sharp as nails. If it weren't for my powder, these damn tribesmen would have already killed me. Blood and muscle. Pablo. If it wasn't before, it is now obvious that our targets know each other. Before we leave, let's pick up that huge briefcase. Okay, now we simply have to find the bomb and escape to complete the mission. But before that, I want to show you something. If we were to go to the reception desk with Franz Kyd, we'd be able to check his mail. We'd receive 2 different letters, one from Fritz, one from the florist. First of all, let's read the one from Fritz. Dear brother, under these circumstances, it will be advisable to keep working on separate paths. I made arrangements to store our precious merchandise safely, and I intend to keep the key close to my heart. If you need any help, please do not hesitate to visit my old friend. He is the hotel florist, and very loyal to the cause. Your loving brother, Fritz. Now, the letter from the florist. Dear sir, it is a pleasure to inform you that the roses you ordered are now available. They can be picked up at your convenience against this receipt. Yours sincerely, the hotel florist. Fritz's letter is meant to lead us to him after killing Franz, since Fritz isn't officially a target in this game. First-time players won't immediately head out to kill him. However, you might be inclined to learn more about him after reading that letter and finding the dentist card on the desk in Franz's room. The merchandise Fritz is talking about is obviously the bomb. He also mentions that the florist is a traitor and a communist. That's the second time I call someone a communist. And some would definitely assume that I'm on my anti-communist arc, or that I secretly have American blood. Neither are true. It actually just makes me laugh to take a shortcut and call everyone who disagrees with me a communist. Do not mind me. The florist offers us flowers in exchange for his letter. It is an Easter egg and a reference to Terminator 2, where a flower box hides a shotgun. It is pretty cool, but it won't pass metal detectors, and it's quite noisy, so I never found any use for it. But maybe some of you are more crafty than I was. Now, these letters also suggest that the dentist is hiding the bomb. If we go to the 3rd floor, where the dental office is, his secretary simply tells us that he's in the thermal bath area, but by going on the roof, we can enter through a window. We just have to garrote that chap, and then crouch our way through the dental office to reach the UV room and steal the bomb. We'll then leave the same way we came. Now, to escape, we have 2 choices, the back alley or the metal detectors.
We have a situation here.
Yeah, the back alley it is. All in all, the Hotel Gallard is a pretty good map with solid level design. It is big enough to explore without being as huge and empty as the first Colombian mission, and while there are many areas that won't be explored anymore once we know how to solve the mission, some of these remain useful if we wish to avoid metal detectors.